I'd sell my soul for a donut.
Well, that can be arranged.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the table. Today we are taking a look at a Civivi Elementum. And as you can tell, this is not just any run-of-the-mill Civivi Elementum. This one right here is the Dessert Warrior edition from BladeHQ. And so this knife right here, we can see these extreme colors. I mean, look at the blues and the pinks, and of course, the whole idea behind this series of knives is that it's meant to emulate the look of a donut. So we can see the sprinkles on the G10 scale right here. So let's take a closer look at this knife and just check out exactly what we're getting with this Elementum. So first off, we have this nice blue coated blade, and if you look closely, to me this looks like a powder coat, so we can see there is some texture to this blade right here. The jimping on the spine of the blade is still intact, and this is a D2 steel blade. And so the colors here are really what drew everyone to this knife when it was released. So the G10 scales, they almost don't look like G10. You know, they're so smooth. If you had asked me on first glance, I would guess these were aluminum scales. But of course, we can see the pink color, all of the sprinkles, and it's just really striking. And of course, this is meant to be a fun knife. So if you are not into the bright colors, I totally understand it. The knife world totally understands it. But I think there are more people interested in this knife than not interested in this knife. So the sprinkles add some pop. We can even see the steel liners here. So the steel liners have kind of this tan, I think they call it like a frosting color. And of course, being a Elementum, if you look inside the scales, we can see that the liners are indeed skeletonized, which help reduce the weight on this knife, because this is in my opinion, a mid to full size everyday carry knife. So the weight of the Civivi Elementum here, this Dessert Warrior edition, is 2.89 ounces. And so we can look at the specs as well. Let's just look at the length. And now if you aren't familiar with the Elementum here, we can see with the ruler, the overall length we're looking at is about 7 inches long, maybe a little bit longer depending on how you measure. And the blade itself is coming in right at 3 inches. So it's just that sweet spot, the perfect everyday carry size knife. And of course, with the fancy coloration, it is very understandable. This knife sold out near instantly. So BladeHQ dropped this knife, I think it was like at 9 or 10 a.m. on a Tuesday. And so right in the middle of the workday, but nonetheless, BladeHQ's site crashed almost instantly at the turn of the hour. And people were refreshing, going crazy, trying to get these knives. And so the good news is that if you were persistent, if you put in the time, you were most likely able to get one if you were there right at 10. You had to refresh a lot. You had to add to your cart. You had to, make sure to check out as quick as possible. But when it worked, it worked. So a lot of people were able to get their hands on these. And I definitely get it if you weren't among them. I apologize. But I really do have to commend BladeHQ here on the Dessert Warrior line. Prior Dessert Warrior knives, they were Boker automatics for the most part. I know they have a Swiss Army knife one too as well, but for the autos, not everyone really is into automatic knives. So this right here is really the first Dessert Warrior knife for the masses, for the everyday carry crowd, and that you can carry almost everywhere in the United States without any legal repercussions. And so I'm glad they chose Civivi as their manufacturer. Because of course the Elementum is already a highly praised model of knife, and now we have this really great version with these wacky colors. And it's not just a few colors. I mean, you can see as I'm holding the knife, I mean, look at the hardware. Our pivot here is this nice deep purple color. The body screws, we have one green, one blue. And even the pocket clip screws, if you can look deep in there, we can see we have one purple screw and one deep red screw, which is the only red piece of hardware on the knife. And despite all of this customization, this single run, all these colors, all this powder coating, they did not jack up the price to some ridiculous level. So the Civivi Elementum Dessert Warrior Edition, they sold this for $52, which is essentially the same price as your run-of-the-mill Civivi Elementum in, your basic G10 or micarta. So that is actually commendable. So BladeHQ is doing a great thing here with this series of knives. And I know not everyone has the highest opinion of BladeHQ for various things they've done in their past, but I think having knives like this exclusive to them is really bringing customers back in. And obviously it is for this run of knife because it's sold out. Despite all of these server hiccups, I would say within 20 to 30 minutes, the knife was sold out after it was released. And that's actually a pretty good amount of time for a very in-demand item like this. So I'm glad that I was able to pick one up. Again, I had to refresh several times, and I would say within the first 6 or 7 minutes, I was able to successfully add the knife to the cart and make my purchase. Some people took longer. It was really just luck of the draw if you were able to get the server to work for you or not. I mean, they even had a custom error page custom designed for the Dessert Warrior knife where it had big donuts in it. That's, you know, oops, 404, sorry, try again. So the servers couldn't handle it, but there was some stock there for people to have. So a really cool looking knife. So let's do some really quick size comparisons. So if you've never had an Elementum before, again, 3-inch blade, 7 inches overall length, that should be a familiar size. So let's put it next to the Benchmade Mini Griptilian here. You'll see the sizes just side by side there. You can see they're very similar, you know, almost identical in overall length. So good comparison to the Mini Griptilian if you've ever owned one of those. But just for another size comparison, right here we also have the Kershaw Blur. And the Blur is going to be a little bit longer in overall length because the blade length is, you know, a smidge longer on the Blur. But just for size comparisons, you can see the differences there. But again, Civivi and We and all of those, the light companies, I think it's Sencut is their budget line, all amazing quality knives. So we're glad that we have this Dessert Warrior coming under the Civivi lineup. And so if you were not able to get one, they definitely will be releasing more knives in this Dessert Warrior theme. So I don't know whether they're going to be Civivis or more Bokers or some other branding. And but they did say on the sale page, sold out now, but keep an eye out for more in the future. So I really do hope if they do continue this line of knives, they go with manufacturers like Civivi who can produce super high quality and maintain this really low attractive price, because at $52, this was the knife that almost anyone in the knife community could afford and get a laugh out of. So really cool. So lovely deep carry pocket clip here. I just love the look of the powder coat on this knife. The flipping action is good. And of course, if you carry this knife, you are more than likely going to see some wear and tear on the corners and edges of all the paint on the knife. So I would guess that a lot of people who bought two of them probably bought one to keep in, you know, safe and sound, and one to actually carry and use. Unfortunately, if you didn't get one while they were released, sadly the eBay scalpers have kicked in, so now you're gonna have to spend $100+ easily to get your hand on one. So that's very unfortunate, but that happens with any very popular knife release. So glad that I was able to pick this one up. Tell me what you think. Do you like the Dessert Warrior theming? Is that kind of something you would actually carry, or do you think it's, you know, it's just an oddball knife and more of a curio than anything else? For me personally, I probably won't carry this every day. This is the kind of thing you carry once in a while when you really want to pass around and show a knife off to your buddies and get a laugh out of something. Because of course, with any heavy wear and tear, the coatings here will not last all that long. But again, it's a knife. It cuts. It works. So I suppose that's kind of the point, right? So tell me your thoughts. Civivi Elementum Dessert Warrior. Leave a comment below, guys. See you later. Have a nice day.